Hi, this is Marauders here. So you're gonna watch a video where I show you the steps of taking apart and putting the Razer Raiju Tournament Edition back together again. Remember, if you decide to take apart your own controller based on my instructions, you do so at your own risk, and I won't be responsible if anything happens to your controller, okay? Cool, enjoy the video. Okay, hello YouTube, this is Marauders here, and well, I've recently decided to take the plunge and just disassemble the Raiju Tournament Edition to see if the whole blowing air into the sticks, into the stick assembly actually makes it better or not. So I might as well do it once on video, so you guys who are wondering how to take it apart can actually take it apart. Okay, so first of all, there are two screws hidden underneath this, underneath the serial label. So you need to take it off or punch a hole to it to get to these two screws. So we'll just take them out first. Now the other screws are underneath these handles. Basically, it's like the Xbox One's joystick, so you have to pull it apart. Don't pull it from this side because the hooks are actually hooking on this side, so don't try pulling it apart from here. So you need to pull it apart from this line here. And I hope you have something like what I have, which is some plastic that's not too soft or hard, because I tried doing it with a screwdriver at first, and it kind of damaged the sides. So what you want to do is you just want to jam this in and yank it out. So just jam it in, and once you're able to pop it open. If you open the Xbox One controller before, you know that this is a major pain, because I don't know how many times you can actually do this without actually breaking the hooks, but okay. So there we go. That's one side out. So push it in. Let's do the other side. And I accidentally turned on my PS4 because this thing is still in Bluetooth mode. So remember to switch it to wired mode. So this side is being a bit more okay. So popped out the sides. So once you pop out the sides, there are 3 more screws in each side. So it's here, here, and here. Now these two are fine. You can easily reach them. So you can reach this one here. Now the screws that are holding the stick together, they are all the same size, so you don't have to worry about them mixing them up. But for these 2 screws here in the deeper corners, yeah, you're gonna need something long, because if you have a usual adapted screwdriver, it has difficulty reaching it. screw. Now next, before you split open this, remember to unlock the triggers. So make sure you unlock the hair trigger locks. Okay, so now that we've removed the 8 screws holding the back panel together, we need to remove the back panel. So from the bottom, just lift it up. Okay, so that's the back plate. Now the nice thing that about which I found out when doing this is that this is a pretty well built controller. Nothing falls apart as we are taking this, so that's actually very well made. Okay, now we have the board. The first thing we need to do is that we need to remove the cables connected to the rumba motors. But remember, don't yank at the cable. The cables are very thin. What you want to do is you want to just take something like a tweezer or something, and you just slowly edge the connector out. Slowly push it between the connector and the holder, and push it out. Cause I mean, if you screw this up, you are going to, well, your rumble motors won't work. Okay, so now we have I've pulled out the wires of the rumble motor, so let's just tuck them to the side here so they don't get in the way of the board. The other thing that I would like to point out is this ribbon cable here. So yours might not look like this. Yours might have, this is actually 2 cables. One is, so this cable connects the back panel, and I guess it's the on-off switch and everything, to the main circuit board. So you don't want to damage this cable. Then there's this other cable here. This goes to the touchpad. So the first time I opened this up, this touchpad cable was actually wrapped around this one. I'll put up a picture for you to see what I mean. The main thing is you just want to separate them. Separate them out, because if not, if this cable is tight here, you won't be able to push this controller board out. So the next step, not much surprises. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. 8 of these very obvious screws that we need to just unscrew before we can take this board assembly out. Okay, so now we got all 8 screws out, so we're ready to remove the whole controller board from the case itself. Now, how do we remove the board? It's very easy. All you have to do is we're gonna just push the thumbsticks down and basically push up the board. So you just make sure that the rumble motor cables aren't in the way, and you just gently push it up. Make sure this ribbon cable is free, and you can see that it goes into a little slit down there. Just make sure it's free to move, because when you pull it up, the touchpad is still connected to the other side. So if there's not enough slack, it will snap. So I'm gonna just push it in. Now, if you've taken apart any controller, you know that sometimes when you reach to the part where you disassemble the buttons, everything just falls apart. But to Razer's credit, this thing just holds together. So we pull it apart, and you can see that that's the ribbon cable for the touchpad. And this is where I'm stuck at. I'm not sure how to disconnect the touchpad's cable, but technically you shouldn't need to, because there's enough slack for you to just put them together. Okay, so now you have access. I mean, so yeah, so now, yes, the cable is still connected. I'm not really sure how to take it apart, but if you need to, but you can see that you have access to these, to the sticks assembly already. You can see most of it. And what I did was, I basically just took a blower and I just, now be very careful with the ribbon. So I just blew some air into the stick assembly underneath the concave head. Gave the analog meters a little blow as well. I really don't know why this would work or how well this would work. I'm not sure. But of course, if the reasoning was thus, if we just tilt up the stick and then we point our blower into it and we blow, I mean, it should be able to blow off any of the trapped dust or anything. Okay, after you are satisfied, what you want to do is, when you're closing it back, first you gently just push it in, and don't rest it down fully yet. Now this is one of the trickier parts, so make sure that the rumba motors the wires aren't stuck. So gently, as you pull this thing slightly up and press down the circuit board so that it rests back in the pegs. So there are some peg holes here, so that it rests back in. So gently, just not too hard. You just want to gently pull it. You don't want it to, basically we don't want it to tangle up too much inside it in case it pinches it. But it should be fine. Just, you might not be able to get the thing to be as long as it used to when you first open it up, but just try and make sure that it's not tangled up somewhere underneath. So I'm just gonna move it a little bit. So I pulled it up a bit, and once you have enough back, then rest the circuit board back down. So you don't really need to pull it up until everything is back up. So don't worry about it too much. We just want to make sure that it doesn't get tangled. Okay? So push it back down. Everything should be solid back here. There shouldn't be any give when you push it down. And okay, that's it. So at this point, if you're worried that you did screw up something, like you didn't put it back together properly, what you could do is that you could just screw in a few of these screws and then just try the control out and see whether the things are working as they should. So that's a way you can go and do testing on. Okay, so after we screwed in the screws, what you want to now is carefully put back the rumba motor connectors as well, because again, like I said, well, if you accidentally put too much force on it, you're gonna snap a cable, and well, I guess it's just a rumba motor, so not too big a loss. I guess some people don't like having the rumble. Okay, motors are back. Now before we close back up the rear hatch, what you want to do is make sure that this the mode selector switch is in the same position as the switch that actually toggles. So there's a little switch here which is movable. So just make sure it's in the same position as the one at the back here on the back panel. So we're gonna keep it at the center. So it's actually keyed, so just make sure it's in the right position. And we will go we have to go in. There are the two latch holes here on top. So these two hooks will go into it. Just gently go in. Okay. Press it down. Press the buttons. Swap the switches. Okay, everything feels good. Then you can just screw back the remaining screws and test it out. Okay, so we've screwed the things back in, and now we're gonna just put the plates back. So what you want to do is you want to press it down from the, just push it in. Match the grooves. There are some grooves to fit these hooks here, so just match it in and push it down. And hopefully if you damaged it too much, you might want to take a file and file down some of the rough edges. Okay. Okay, so that was how you take apart and put your Razer Raiju Tournament edition back together again. Now, I see on the web that some people have said that once they did that and they cleaned up the joystick wells, the stick basically, the controller loses the drift problems. I personally don't know how well that should work, because after doing all this, I ran through my gamepad checking program again, but it's still showing the really weird and bad pattern. But from initial testing, playing for a few hours, I haven't seen a case of a slow stick turn or a very radical drift like totally makes the controller unusable. I haven't seen that anymore. But if for all the slow turn problems, I think it will still be there. And I think the slow turn problems are actually more of the problem with the joystick well itself. I don't know. Anyway, maybe if you got a controller that you cannot return and you just want to try one more thing, go ahead, give it a try. Let me know how well it works for you. This is Marauders. I will see you all in the next video.